Okay, this is Musicians Forced to Podcast. Today we have Graham Ween, the drummer of Harlem Hayfield.
Yo.
I'm Brandon. Behind the camera back there is the production guy. His name's Hugh Sullivan. He's always back there. Here we are again today. This is now middle of winter times, February.
It's cold.
Very cold. I think it was 2 degrees actually 1 degree when I got out in my truck this morning. So we're hunkered inside for the winter time. We're hibernating, waiting for spring.
Hunker and downtime is writing time. I mean, we did take a break.
That's true. We started writing a new song last night,
Yep.
and it sounds kind of almost like a gypsy jazz kind of thing. Actually, we started working on it about a week ago, and then we got together last night with just 4 of us, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be pretty dope. Hugh's writing a ragtime keyboard solo, which is kind of cool, and it's also got like a little punk feel to it in the chorus.
It's different from anything else we have.
It's very
Definitely.
different. And Graham here, I started writing the riff a few weeks ago in my brain, and then I put it to guitar, and then we went into the band room, and this dude just starts playing the snare shuffle, which is exactly what I had in my head, and I was so happy to hear that. And so it looks like you and I, we're kind of connected, finish each other's sentences.
I do dope shit, Brandon.
I like that there's no like limit for, where we can take a song or pull a song from. Like there was no one just going, this isn't a Hayfield song, or like,
it's
oh,
not
that's
at
going
all.
somewhere.
And I kind of dug that about it. That was like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like anything else we have, but we can do whatever we want.
Man, you know what? I know what you guys are saying, but no matter what we do, I feel like you can tell it's ours. Once it's done, like once we get done messing with it, put hot sauce on it and all that, I know it sounds like it's a different kind of song.
Yeah.
But I just feel like once it's all produced and done and we record it, I feel like you can tell that we did it.
Oh, for sure. But
we made up our own genre, so we didn't have to stick to any.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Like,
So now Rust Belt Soul includes gypsy jazz.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but that's another one down for recording again. We talked about this the other day. We had like 3 we did in Michigan. We did a couple new ones with the whole band, and then that's a new one right there. I got that other new slow one that I was working on. That's like I can't do math.
about 6 or 7 songs.
6, 7 songs in.
There's all kinds of, old stuff that we've kind of written and never done anything with, that if we ever go back and actually look in the boneyard and get into some of that stuff, we'll have, I would say, close to 20.
Well,
honestly,
yeah, in the boneyard,
I mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
If we did, and we talked about that the other day.
There's over 40 like snippets in the boneyard, like that have names enough to like, for me to know off the top of my head.
Well, like our strength is our weakness sometimes, man, because like we'll spend a practice coming up with something and get it down enough to, if not get all the way through, get a lot of the way through,
Yeah.
And then like we're all pumped on that, and the intention is to come back next week and finish it up.
And
then it's like, hey, I got this new riff though, and then
it's new riff time.
We just kind of do it again, so all that stuff just gets shelved.
That's why our boneyard is so big. There's a couple of songs that we played for quite a while, like Warmer Days and Benchmark.
Man, I miss those both.
Well, dude, check it out. I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, what if we took those 2 songs and didn't just go do them exactly how they were before, but kind of just messed with them to maybe kind of update them just a little,
Mm-hmm.
put a little.
I'll bet we haven't played either one of those in at least 2 years.
If we touched those songs up a little bit and just made them a little more interesting, then I think we could probably record those 2 as well.
If there's anyone out there who's like, hey, I've got all this fucking money, but I don't know anyone who can live in this mansion and write an album in a few months.
Isn't that what?
Hit us up.
Incubus did that with Morning View,
Yeah.
and it was, man, what a great album they had.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the, like, there's some DVD they had out called the Morning View Sessions where they would like show some of the footage like that from that time. And dude, one, it was this badass house in Malibu on the ocean, which is, man, if that ain't inspiration for writing,
Right.
like you can kind of feel that vibe in that record because of where they were. I feel that way on some of our stuff, dude. I really do. Like when I hear, what's the one? It's on the Strong EP. We haven't played it forever. The real slow one. Dude.
Love by Me?
Love by Me, yeah. Like we wrote that in Michigan at my dad's place and had like it was a rainy Sunday
awesome day.
Yeah, and it was one of those days where we got about 3 Zimas to the wind the night before. Had a great time, wrote some songs. And then,
It's another Gramism right there. 3 Zimas to the wind. Forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm awesome. I remember, like, I woke up that morning, that Sunday, and it was, like I said, rainy and whatnot. And I wasn't hungover. Still a little drunk. And
I believe that.
And I was like, I came out, hung out for a minute, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna go back to bed for a little bit. But in that house, you know how it is, it's all wood, and you can hear everything everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm in there laying down, and I'm like kind of half asleep, half not. And I'm starting to hear, you guys are out in the living room or whatever, and I'm starting to hear this song come together a little bit. Chris actually wrote all the lyrics to that song, and I'll let him tell that story at another time. It's his story to tell, but like, those lyrics are fantastic and a really deep personal thing for him. That morning, I'm in bed, half asleep, and I'm listening to this kind of come together, and finally it was like interesting me enough to where I was like, all right, dude, I gotta get in on this. You know what I mean? And by the end of I don't know, I'd say within about 3 hours, 4 hours, that song was done front to back. And it's really slow. It's got this like just weird, it's got that Hawaiian-y slide guitar thing
It's
going,
almost
which
like
is really
almost
cool.
like country feel.
A little bit.
Like maybe not country, but Western.
You know,
Like,
one of the vibes it gave me, and it doesn't sound like that song, but for some reason it made me think of Wonderful Tonight by Clapton.
yeah.
Like
I get that.
like that.
Well,
and the tempo's real slow and whatnot, and it still today. That was 4 or 5 years ago.
Dude, I think we've only ever played that song live once.
Yeah, I
in
think
Indiana.
Yeah, I feel like you're right.
For Jeff Randall.
Yeah, at the outside show.
Yeah, he wanted us to play it on stage, and we were like, because we hadn't played it in a long time.
That's when I left my tambourine. Shout out, Jeff. Thanks for getting that for me, man.
Yeah. Well, that happens in Michigan. Like when we go there,
it does.
I can hear, like when you hear that song, you think of Michigan, and I think of
specifically a rainy Sunday morning in Michigan.
I totally feel you. Like when I hear Brother, it reminds me of that day in Michigan too. You know, there's certain songs that remind me of that.
That was a cool experience too, because that's when Hugh became official. It was that trip. Like he'd been in the band technically 2 weeks?
Couple weeks.
We barely even knew the dude, and he goes to Michigan with us, which we didn't think he would.
Yeah.
But he did, and like, man, we wrote Warmer Days. I think was another one that we wrote on that.
We
trip.
wrote the first night that we like really hunkered down.
Yeah, like Hugh was laying down just really quiet chords because we were trying not to be that loud because we don't want the cops to come
again.
And yeah. And we were working on these like 4-part harmonies or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2 a.m. That was cool.
It was kind of fun because that song, we actually like the night after that, we actually like did like a little Facebook Live where you were like walking at the camera with the little strong thing.
I do remember
that was that was kind of cool.
Dude, that video. What I love about that video, even though I'm being an idiot and we've been drinking with the strong thing, I had glasses on, but like what I love about it is the background noise. You can hear, that room is so big and roomy, and you can hear like just like the footsteps and stuff. It really, that video, as corny as it is on my part, it really captures like what it's like.
Yeah, but that was just us having fun, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you're, the surroundings that you're in absolutely inspire the music that you write. I remember Chris said it really well after, I don't remember what it was, because remember that first trip we took with Chris, that's when we finished up Bank Job. We wrote a few of the old original songs.
Yep,
up there.
Bank Job got finished on that trip.
There was, I can't remember, some of the old ones, man. Like,
yeah, we were, well, actually, the first time we went to Michigan, we had a song for quite a while we just called Blues Jam.
Oh, yeah.
And we worked on that for a while in Michigan on that trip. And me and Chris listened to that almost all the way home.
Yeah.
The recordings of it. And it is a great sounding tune.
Ladies and gentlemen, the saddest solo you've ever heard in your life.
I had to stop going back and listening to stuff from the Boneyard because I would get attached to them and then go, why aren't we finishing this? And it's like everyone else has kind of moved on because we've got a lot of, ideas coming at us. And so like that Insecurity song that we did, like we had that one almost done.
God, I remember that
And
name,
I was
but I don't
just
remember how
like-
that
Was that the
sounds.
one where you did the video with the going through the fire?
No, that was one of the ones that I brought to Watsika. Insecurities was one that was like, I think it was a Mikey.
Say,
jam.
I remember the name, but I
Me
can't
too.
remember how it sounds.
I remember the name, but that's all.
Yeah, it was, but that was one that like I listened to just on my phone all the time because I was like, what a kick-ass song. We'll finish this someday. And then I was like, all right. So now like, unless it's 100% like in the catalog, I've learned to just let it live in the boneyard until it's time to go because I don't want to get attached to anything.
When I was young, dude, I didn't even listen to music. I didn't care about music. Like, I knew my dad was into like Stones and Savoy
Well, that's why
Brown
you
and
didn't
bands
like
like that.
music.
Well, I just I dig the Stones. But dude, I didn't. I did not care. I liked sports and skateboarding and things like that. And like, I didn't care about music until in 7th grade. I met this dude, and him and his brother played music. And like, I just went to his house for some reason one day, and I see all these drums and guitars or whatever. And I was like, what's all this shit? And he was like, yeah, man.
What's all this shit?
He was like, yeah, me and my brother and my cousin, like we play sometimes. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And like, they got up and played a song. And I was like, well, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to check out this music thing.
How old were you?
12, beginning
Yeah,
of 7th
yeah,
grade.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was like nothing at all. And I was like, Green Day. And
That was the end
that's
of
my
that.
life. Yeah.
And Graham has been in that same year since.
Damn right.
What was it, 90 what?
That would have been 97. Yeah.
What year did Dookie come out?
94, February 10th.
What was Tom Petty's original bass player's name in Heartbreakers?
And the Heartbreakers? Oh God, Ron Blair.
Oh, he got it.
Yeah.
One more. What's Trey Cool's real name?
Frank Edwin Wright III.
Where was he born?
Bay Area, California, I believe. but I couldn't-
Germany. I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, he's German born.
Fuck you.
He was.
I didn't know that.
Dude, but see, that's what we're talking about. Rain Man. Our drummer is kind of a Rain Man. Love it.
Shit, they say Prince had like the biggest boneyard of all time. Like that dude.
Oh yeah, the vault.
Oh yeah, there's like supposedly like hundreds of unreleased tracks.
I could
and
see
all
that. I mean,
yeah.
if anyone had that much material that wasn't released, it would have to be somebody as brilliant
Yeah.
and writing proficient as him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And with a home facility to like make some pretty badass stuff by
Sure.
yourself without needing anyone. Like you can literally wake up. I mean, it'll be nice when Mikey's got the studio here. He can literally just like wake up and be like, I'm gonna go record something.
Well,
downstairs.
that's one of the other
Acapella.
urban legends about Paisley Park, Prince's place, is that it was every single room was like wired or whatever to record. Like every single room, literally.
Man.
That's one of the urban legends about that place.
So
you
like,
know?
there'd be just like a nice condenser mic there. So like he could be like eating his breakfast and be like,
I'll be honest, I
Hold
don't
on.
remember from when I was there. I didn't see it.
I still think Prince was the best Super Bowl performance ever. In my
Man,
opinion.
it was really good.
That
man.
was my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I don't know. There's been a few Super Bowls that I thought were really good. Michael Jackson's way back in the day I thought was really good.
Michael
That
Jackson
was
is, I mean, it's Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You can't really.
Prince's was really good. Bruno Mars was really
Bruno
good.
Mars was awesome.
I really enjoyed the
Who was
Chili
with Chili
Peppers
Peppers?
ones.
Yeah.
And did you ever hear the story about that? Like, it's known that like when you do the Super Bowl, like there's tons of rules and regulations you got to follow and blah blah blah. Well, they told the Chili Peppers that the tracks were just going to be tracks. You're going to be just miming along, and Anthony's mic will be hot, but everything else will not actually be played. Like that, it's tracks. Yeah, and so
yeah,
Chili
that was the
Peppers-
first time I ever heard that was because of the Chili
me
Peppers.
Me too. And what they did was, like, they were like, man, come on, but we're not gonna not play the Super Bowl. So they didn't plug their instruments in, so you would see
Yeah.
that. Like,
I do remember
I remember
that.
newspaper articles coming out, and it would show Flea's bass, and they had a little red circle around his jack with nothing plugged into it.
Well, because
know?
you know what? I could see being like, okay, we're going on stage. I don't want any possibility of someone going, oh my God, they're lip syncing, or oh my God, they're not like thinking that they're trying to like trick you instead of they're following the rules or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever like watched an entire like Super Bowl performance. I think
Performance or the game?
like the
halftime show? Yeah.
I think maybe I watched one and I was like, I think I either learned that it was like being lip synced, maybe it was the Chili Pepper one, and I was just like, all right. I don't know, like something about the like spectacle of it didn't like. I like live music, and so I think the first time I watched a Super Bowl halftime show, I was like, oh, this is like it's like a whole thing. It's like got some pageantry to it, and I don't know, I just like never really cared about that.
I get that. It's like, I mean, it's obvious on some of those acts that like they're not doing anything but just dancing around and stuff. They're not singing. Like, it's impossible
and like
I don't jump off of a car
you can tell when they are or when they aren't.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times they might have a live mic, or at least a live mic at certain times. You know, obviously when they're talking, but like during the music, like it would be. In fact, I've always thought this that sometimes I think they record a version of the music for the Super Bowl, not just like the album version, but like, you know, with some breaths in it and stuff like that recorded.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I just like I think the first time I saw like a special like surprise guest come out, and I was just like, I mean, who gives a shit? I don't know why. I just like I didn't care because I was just like if that was at a show I was at, you know, like if I was at a show, you know, watching some band and someone else who I really liked came out on stage, I'd be like, oh, you'll never believe it. But like when I'm seeing it on TV, I'm like, well, it's still on TV.
Yeah.
It's still on TV.
It's on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And just like, and same with award shows and stuff like that. Like,
we can
sometimes awards for art is just kind of stupid anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly. You know
I get that too.
Because it's all subjective or whatever.
Exactly. Art is, you know, one thing to this person and another thing to this person. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing wrong with people winning awards and things like that. It's cool to get credit for something that you've done and whatnot, but I don't know. Awards for art, just there's something that's weird about that.
I agree with you 100%. But when it happens to you, then
it's really awesome.
It changes your mind somehow.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like even on a small level, like, you know.
And I love people getting props for what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, that's
when
great.
I was a kid in junior high, I won an art award for drawing a picture. And I remember my brother kind of, you know, he was like, man, it's art. What do you, it's not, you know.
I get the concept, like, but I understand both sides.
But dude, when I won, I was like pumped. I was like, I won this thing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You just got a big pat on the back.
Yeah. So like when it happens, like I agree with what you're saying. Like, I don't know how you judge and give awards for art, but like when you get one, it feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
I used to get away with a lot of bullshit in school just because of like, you know.
Because you went to clown school, remember?
Well, exactly. I went to clown school.
You went to an Al-Qaeda, what was it called?
Al-Qaeda prank camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my buddy, my buddy was like, did you grow up in an Al-Qaeda prank camp? I can't remember what grade I was in, but there was like a writing contest that I had to enter. And I was just like, I don't know what to write about. And so I wrote about like, it was a paper clip that my grandmother had given me, like, you know, with a book or something. And so it was like, it had this very like ornate, you know, very old lady, like, butterfly on it, you know? So it was like a very fancy, butterfly paperclip. And so like, I wrote about that. I was just like, oh, here's a little, you know, anecdote about the paperclip. And so I ended up winning this writing contest.
Dude, when you were describing it, I was like, that's a great thing to write about.
My buddy was so fucking mad at me. He had spent all this time like researching and like writing something,
Sure.
like, and he was just like, you literally told me yesterday, like, I guess I'll enter it.
Oh,
and
man.
like just whipped out some bullshit story about your grandma's paperclip. You wrote a fucking anecdote about a paperclip, and I'm just like, this is my grandma's paperclip.
I think it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, I do too, dude. I have a story similar to that. When I was in high school, so I had you know, a couple of buddies of mine that played music, and we played in bands and stuff. And then there were some other people who played. Like I knew this guy named Christian. He played keyboard. We weren't really good friends or anything, but like I knew him. And then there was this other girl, Melba. She sang. She was an amazing singer. Didn't know her very well. Well, Christian was putting all these musicians together for a talent contest that was happening at the high school. And so he gets a hold of everybody, and we all get together, and it's the weirdest, like, or I'm sorry, Christian is this dude. He's like super religious or whatever. Melba is like an opera singer. Okay, she does opera, and then like I'm like a metal guy, and my buddy he's into grunge. You know, he brings us all together, and he wants to write a song for this talent show at the high school. So, dude, we spend like a month getting together, like every few days. And we write this song. He wrote it, and then we all put our, pieces in. It was actually really great. We had Melba singing lead. Amazing voice. She ended up, I'll tell you later, she ended up like doing some pretty cool shit. But anyway, so we put all this together. We go to this talent show in the high school. The gymnasium's packed full of people. He rented a Bose PA system just to do this one song, right?
Damn.
So like we had the drums were mic'd, like they rolled the drums out on a riser, like everything was like super professional. I was like 15 or 16 years old when we did this. So we put this whole thing on, we get done, standing ovation, right? Because it was a production that you don't normally see like in a high school, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure, right, thank you. So they roll everything off stage, and the last act to go on is the football team. They come out in tutus.
Oh, God.
And they do this ballerina thing, right? So it's all the big, gruff football guys in the high school.
It's funny because they're just like girls.
They're in tutus and they do the thing, right?
Yeah.
And then they're out there for a couple of minutes. They walk off. Of course, they win. They win. And, dude, there were a couple of people. Like, there was this one girl that did a piano thing. I knew who this girl was. Never really paid attention to her. She was really quiet. But that night, I was like, holy shit, this chick can play.
Yeah,
right?
and the talent loses, but the dipshits and
She
tutus
was
win.
amazing, dude. What she did on the piano, like. Anyway, and then we did our thing. A couple other people, like really talented people, And then these football players come out and they instantly win. And Melba started crying. And then she got up to leave. And I was like, whoa, hold up. She was really upset.
Yeah.
And so we went out to the parking lot, and she was bawling her eyes out, and I was like, hey, this is how this goes. This is pop culture. This is like, popular kids in high school. This is what happens. I think it sucks, too. It's bullshit to me. Yeah. This is a talent show, not a tutu show. This is stupid. Yeah. But yeah, dude, she was devastated. She went on to sing for the Philharmonic. She did a lot of stuff with them.
Shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I know that's like mostly music, but like they have a vocal part of it that they do. Like
dude, they have a whole a cappella thing that they do. Yeah,
she went
impressive.
to go professionally. That's what she did for a living.
Wow,
that's how good she was. And the football players went with the tutus. So, hey, this has been Musicians Force the Podcast one more time with Graham Ween, the drummer of Harlem Hayfield, and behind the camera is Hugh Sullivan, our producer and keyboard extraordinaire. I'm Brandon. I think that's it for tonight. We're done, right? Okay, see y'all.
Peace.
Where does that sound coming from in there? What does that sound, Mikey?
Harlem Hayfield.
Harlem Hayfield? What is that?
Hayfield, man, that's a new shit.